This is the all-new Audi A4. This is the all-new Audi A5. This is not an editing error, this is the truth. Because this vehicle here is the all-new Audi A4 and the Audi A5 in one, and it is called now new generation of the Audi A5. So I would maybe call it the Audi formerly known as A4 tough car. Maybe like this, you know, remember Prince? Yeah, and I'll tell you all about it and like explain the logic behind it and so on and so on. We have it as the sedan or sportback, and also here as the Avant, the Estate, all the versions, exterior, interior, engines, with Thomas Nautical Fuel in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. First, staying here with our Ascari Blue sedan, the S5. Yes, it's an S5. And you can see here, the S models, they have this honeycomb structure here in the lower part. Also these inlays here in the front grille. Usually, an S5 would have bright inserts right here and also in the lower part. This one here optionally equipped with a black package. LED, new lamps, there's a nice integration here, horizontal style, and they are in 3 different trims, LED, LED Plus and the Matrix LED. The latter one you see here, they also have special indicator animation and so on. You can see here in a very sporty style, the hood has, you know, it's kind of like inserted into the whole front area, what we usually see from sporty cars, and the same applies also for the side mirrors. They are placed at the side doors and not here in this triangle. This also should remind you of sports cars. Next to the wheels, 17 to 20 inch. These here are 20-inch wheels. The biggest ones available are S wheels, and also the red contrasting brake caliper here for the S model next to the black contrast here in the lower part. Usually the side mirrors would also be in the bright styling, which I personally prefer for an S model. But here, once again, with the black pack, you can also get this more sinister look here. 4.83 meters or 190 inches is the length. This is 7 centimeters or 3 inches longer than the predecessor A4, because for Audi, this is the successor of the A4. But at the same time, it's also the successor of the A5. You see, it's getting a little bit complicated, but they want to rearrange their portfolio there a little bit. And also the other logic behind this is that uneven numbers are the combustion engines now, and the even numbers are the electric models. That's why an A4 and an A6 is an EV at Audi now, and an A5 and an A7 would be the combustion engine, rather. And the funny thing is that when you look here, like at the height here, it's a little bit more A4 sedan. But then if you look here to this stretched roof line and so on, and like this shoulder or hip area is a little bit more A5. And I think, yeah, it's maybe like A4 and A5 have children, and after that they themselves jumped off the cliff, you know, like the parents, not the children. And you can also see that here, this is then typical A5 sportback style. It has this fastback or liftback, so it opens really wide, access to the trunk. Soon we'll also give you all the in-depth features of the trunk, also compare it to the Avant, to the Estate. And yeah, in this case here also then the S5 model together with the Audi Sport badge right here and new light technology. On top of that, you can also get the OLED, and it's really interesting if you also look from the side. These are very, very small layers that stand out, and they are really very crisp, and different features are available. It has this approaching light. Sometimes it works here when you're a human, sometimes not. It's more like when the vehicle is approaching that you then have like an effect, say like, hey, stay away from me. And what's also cool is when I use the brake pedal now, look at that. So I turn on the ignition. So now I use the brake pedal. And then you can also see here how the brake light basically appears behind the OLED. That looks really amazing, doesn't it? And also the turning indicators here in a cascading style when you have the Matrix LED. So they play a lot with light. And you can also switch through different light signatures and so on, so to individualize your vehicle. The S model here gets this additional spoiler on the top. It's also black, but this is one part that is always black and not part of the edition. Ah, there we go. So Leah has, yeah, yeah, Leah is a vehicle here today. No, she's very slim, perfect body, of course. And then here you can see, maybe you need to come close again. Maybe. There we go. This is then the approaching light, and I think it's a useful feature because I told it also, you know, like in a couple of other videos before where we've seen that. There are these guys that come so close, maybe even at the traffic light. It's like, oh, do you want to drive into my vehicle or what? And then it's like, yeah, get off, man, you know. So I think it's a very cool feature to play around with, for sure. And then S5 exhaust tips, and when you have the black package, it's also a little bit darker here around, and real exhaust here, pretty cool. The standard would then be a little bit brighter here. So from the styling here, that's why I also picked this vehicle here as our first main exterior vehicle for the day. This would be mine, not with the black package, so this without the black package, in nice blue, and also here as the sportback, because I feel it combines this, hey, I have the beautiful exterior, at the same time a great access to the rear. And when I've seen this now, to me it's more an A5 successor, to Audi it's more an A4 successor, but yeah, the truth is it's both. It's a successor for both, definitely. Then you have standard suspension. Then you have a fixed sport suspension, 20 millimeters lower, or you have a sports adaptive suspension. It's also 20 millimeters lower, but then with adaptive dampers, which you can also rule then with sport, comfort setting, and so on. And here, this is then our estate for today. We have even more colors coming up back there. It will be very interesting. So this is here horizon blue, a little bit, yeah, frosty gray, lighter blue, something like that. And you can see here the tail lamp signature is basically the same, but you can of course pick your individual one. And then we have the typical estate or Avant form. However, it's not that steep here, so it has some kind of, yeah, maybe a little bit shooting brake design, I would say. So definitely more sensual design here also for the Avant, for the estate, and some like that more. In Germany, it's definitely all the way with the Avant. The A4 is bought as the Avant, that's the period. But then when you look at the rear and see an estate and read A5, it's like, my brain can't cope with that, you know. Can yours? Tell me in the comments. I mean, maybe we'll get used to that at some point, and then it's fine. And in this case, of course, you see that, you know, if you go for the Sportback or for the estate trunk, they open now in a almost similar way. Here is interesting. We soon do trunk comparison here, that the cover here goes up, and when it closes, you can't see it right now because the window is dark, but now it goes back. Maybe you see the shadow slightly. So electric slider here then for this cover is also quite a practical feature, isn't it? Of course, we have to talk about the engines as well. Top of the line here, the 3-liter V6, the known one for the S5, 367 horsepower, all-wheel drive with a rear-wheel bias. And this now gets an MHEV system, and this is really supposed to save significant fuel. So that's at least what they promise. Of course, when we drive this vehicle, we will find out for you. Then you have the 2-liter TDI with 204 horsepower. This also receives the MHEV system. And then we have some petrol engines without mild hybrid system. And that would be the 2-liter TFSI with 150 or with 204 horsepower. And the entry-level version is also available with front-wheel drive. Leah signals me that I need to stretch my shirt a little bit because the microphone is...
So nice.
Oh, yeah, this is the 4K full screen, full length shirt. Of course, you can buy the merchandise now, so check out our shop. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, you've been asking me for that for 10 years, and finally we got everything together, and also like everything is certified and organic cotton and so on. So we want to have like good quality or nothing, and yeah, now it's finally there. What also will be coming up later is a plug-in hybrid, then based on the 2-liter TFSI. That one then in 2 different horsepower stages, also now with a way larger battery for the pure electric range. We also always have a pinned comment or the video description where you find all the engines facts that are known so far. There will be more engines coming up later as well, on both sides, on the entry-level side and yeah, RS5. There will be something for you as well, and we will definitely keep you updated with all of that. And here, this was here our Avant in the full spec. I'll just leave the stage for just a second here in the horizon blue. I think it also works as the estate, you know, very well. So exterior design, I think they really nailed it with this one. And then we have one more Avant, and this is here the It's an S5 Avant. Seriously? I mean, this is even like an even bigger problem for my brain. You read, oh, this is approaching that once again. You read S5 in close, then the camera goes back, and it's an estate. And your brain like, it's not possible. Yeah, it is possible. Obviously, you see it now, but I definitely have to get used to that. Do you as well? Tell me in the comments. Here, once again, the biggest 20-inch wheels. And here, my favorite styling, also for the S5, no matter if sedan or estate. Here, the chrome frame around and also the bright accentuation lower part. Here, then the silver mirrors as well. I would keep it like it is right here. And also in the front, this would be my S styling, definitely. Also with the bright inserts right here, bright styling left and right. And I think it's really important not to go for the black package, to have the white Audi rings. They are two-dimensional now. And if they're two-dimensional, just, it's the best, you know, look at that. You see, okay, it's an Audi. But then you look at that one here, maybe you see it from the shape, but when we look from here, you can't really see the rings, right, you know? Yeah. You can never see it from a distance. And also when you drive in front of it and look in the mirror, it's like, yeah, maybe it could be an Audi, but I don't see the logo, you know. But here, when the rings are wide, you do see the logo. So this is, by the way, here Daytona gray. And then there's, was it magnet gray, I think? Yeah, it was magnet gray, yeah. This one here is magnet gray. It has, like the Daytona's a little bit,
This one is dark.
What? I'm the male here, so I'm not expert in colors. Which one is
darker?
This one is darker.
Yeah.
Okay, Leah knows it better. You know, like women are just so much better with colors. Men is like, oh, there's 5 colors in this world, and women are always like, there are 500 colors in this world. But I heard it has really something to do with the eyes. That's like a physical thing, you know. But maybe we are. But maybe we are just too stupid. I don't know. Yeah, but this is another kind of gray color. That's true. And I think it's also working very well. It has kind of like a matte nuance, although it's not a matte color. Once again, here the black package. This one here is a sedan or fastback or sportback. I would call it sportback, but Audi doesn't. And then here, there's also a special launch color where you have, you know, another color inset in the very front. I think design-wise, they all work very well, just that I would not personally pick the black package over about you. Before we let the ruler of truth decide here about the trunk, look at that here in the lower part. The Autogefühl fake exhaust police has been working for you for over 10 years, and this is the result. No fake exhaust anymore with the Audi A4 or the Audi A5. Yeah, because it's called Audi A5 now. Yeah, and it's both. Okay, we had that earlier. So no fake exhaust anymore, real exhaust. The TFSI gets them like on both sides, one each. The TDI, the diesel, will have like just on one side actually, but no fake exhaust on the other one. So yeah, you can also get the fake exhaust, the Autogefühl fake exhaust police shirt, by the way. I love that shirt, it's actually my favorite one. And now the trunk here of the A5 sedan. It's a sportback, damn it. So let me go. The width is 1 meter or 40 inches. And then the length here is 1 meter and 9 or 43 inches. Underneath, there's in here the studio cabling. It will look different. So there we go. And then this is like a parcel shelf you can also remove. To fold the seats, you have to go around. But the great thing is, I mean, it looks great on the outside, central styling, but such a great access to the rear. So I think that's really a great decision to go for that one. And then you can fold the seats here, 2/3, 1/3 split. And then we go here with the full length in 4K. There we go. And this then to the driver's seat, about 185 or 73 inches. So 445 liters for the Sportback sedan, sorry about that, and 480 liters for the estate. Not too much of a difference. You can see the difference is here. You have more height here in the lower back area. The length itself is, yeah, more or less the same. The same also goes for the width and so on. It's really different than right here. And the second big difference is you can unlock the seats from here. That's of course a very practical feature that you can directly load things through. And of course, yeah, this electric cover that automatically goes back again. So really I wanted to show that to you actually. So she climbed in the vehicle now in the rear, and when I close it then from the other side you can see how it slides back. Key fob here in matte black, which feels quite good. Then the door handles here are basically hidden on the inside here. There's no physical feedback or something. Door closing sound, that sounds really good, right? I'm here. And the rear doors, that sounds even better. So yeah, I really like it. So great door closing sounds. What about the interior quality right here? This is here somewhat hard, but it doesn't look hard, but it is actually quite hard, let's say, a little bit maybe. Then we have a nice fabric covering here, so this is quite a cool thing. And there's also this three-dimensional imprint. Do you remember where we've seen exactly this? Yeah, if you are a very diligent subscriber, you know that we have seen this here with the new Bentley Continental GT. Interesting, right? Then this is also an S-Line interior. So you have the badge right here at the steering wheel, flat bottom, perforated sides. Then also the fabric insert here in this very case. You have this one large black panel when the infotainment system and the instruments are off. Soon they are going to be alive. And these are lovely seats here. These are the sport seats actually, but in fabric, gray fabric on the inside, a little bit darker on the outside, and they will also deliver you the best comfort because they have the softest and most plush bolstering. You can also electronically adjust them right here. This then also in the front, the electric lumbar support, front and back and so on. And yeah, this is a very comfortable feeling because the other thing that Audi wants to do is making this segment here basically like one segment more above. That's why also here the electric control of the steering wheel. Yeah, I mean, it has grown in length. It's meanwhile pretty long, what used to be maybe an A6 in the past or something like that. So yeah, it feels very elaborated, and it also gets, you know, like this new screen format we have already, for example, seen with the Audi Q6 e-tron recently. So yeah, it definitely makes in this respect a little bit more upmarket impression on the first hand. And headroom here in the front with the fixed roof, yeah, plenty left. And the cockpit overview here. This is completely new 12-inch instruments, 14.5 infotainment, and an 11-inch passenger screen is an option. Where you can also watch YouTube, for example, and you cannot see that as a driver while driving then. At the moment I can see it stationary, but not while driving. Also pretty cool how the ambient lighting is integrated, first of all, here in the front of the windshield, all the way around. And it also gives you, for example, here when I hit the turning indicator or also the hazard lights on both sides, then you have this animation then also with the indicators. So yeah, a very nice light feature, definitely. By the way, as for the seats, as I said, these ones will give you both best comfort because like the other animal skin alternatives, Audi is not into that yet. So they're really lagging behind that one. There's also a Dynamica microfiber seat available, for example, then, and in general a base seat, a sport seat, and an S sport seat. That's like the logic. Here we have also fabric at the dashboard, by the way, and then in the lower part more ambient lighting integration like that with adaptive cup holders. Then real volume jog seal, at least that. 2 USB-C chargers and also inductive charging pad with cooling holes. This is here for the shifting, D, reverse, so pretty easy, nice solution. Then the drive select for the driving modes, you can also click it here and then it appears up there in the infotainment screen. So there's one solution not to do everything in the screen, at least with that and the volume. Here, nice armrest, you can fold it up, some space underneath, and you can also adjust the height right here with this button. So also a nice solution. A good size for the steering wheel. You have shifting panels as well. And I would say we have to still take a look at the, oh, this, who moved that mirror here? Yeah, that's the way it's correct. So yeah, sometimes I'm a little bit nerdy there when the details are not very precisely correct. Driver POV, you can change what you see in the digital instruments, also for example on the left or on the right side. And then there we also have a head-up display. You can check out some more studio lights right there. You also have more information in there. By the way, here optional B&O sound system, 20 speakers, and they are all over the vehicle. Literally, look here to the right is the biggest screen that Audi has so far, and it has this Android Automotive base, so it works definitely quicker than before. So yeah, definitely more responsive. Climate unit, however, is integrated right here, and they have this bar here that you can rest your hand while clicking something, but sometimes I also find it distracting in a way because yeah, maybe you have to do like this, and then you have to see like how do you coordinate that with your fingers. Yeah, this would probably be the best solution. You rest your 3 fingers here and then click like right here, but it can also be blocking then at the same time. So I'm not sure if this was the best idea overall, or what do you think? Because here when I do click like this, then my fingers are blocking here, and then yeah, I don't know what to make of this, honestly. Or maybe do you have a better idea for that? Rear seats. First of all, the rear doors. Yeah, they look quite fancy, but it's rather hard than here in the rear. Then here with the fabric covering. No fabric on the inside of the doors, neither in the front nor in the rear. And then the legroom, as I'm driving, well, you can use this recess here. And you know that the length increase has all gone into the wheelbase, so we have more legroom than before in the A4, but it's not like plenty of legroom. You can see here you can sit here as a tall adult, but it's not plenty of space, honestly, for the length. And headroom, yeah, also works here. This is the sportback or the sedan with the low roof line without the panoramic roof. So it will be better in the Avant and also with the panoramic roof. I'm soon going to compare that. Yeah, the comfort in general is actually quite okay, but it's not that it's a special vehicle for rear transport. Also here in the middle part, there's a large middle tunnel. Works more or less, a little bit harder, of course, not ideal. Then you have here in the middle console 2 USB-C chargers next to a separate climate unit, even with seat heating. Isofix here in the lower part, you can slide it actually open or close it again. And then this one down, adaptive cup holders, is actually also good build quality. And then you can also use this ski hatch right here. Here, headroom comparison with the Estate, with the Avant, and also with panoramic roof. Panoramic roof available for both in the Sportback or sedan. Let's just leave it that way. It's a little bit shorter. And here, there's definitely more headroom. So there's a little bit more headroom in the Avant in the rear, plus a little bit more headroom with the glass roof. And then you have like the max headroom. That would be like the logic. And if you come closer, this is also here the panoramic roof with the Electrochrome function. And if you look at that, you can have the zebra look. Although I don't see any logical reason why you would possibly use one or other, because either you want to have the sun blocked out or not, right? So this way it's clean. And then you can also have it slide through with this effect right here, or go back again. However, as a car user, I would wish just basically 2 functionalities: open and close. Why would you need something else, right? I mean, maybe you could argue like maybe like this, for example. No, I mean like this. If you would say, for example, shade for the dog or for the kids, and no shade for the front, maybe that would be the only use case. Pricing 45,000 euros is a German entry price I already have for you. The Avant is 1,650 euros more expensive than the Sportback or sedan. I will just keep calling it A5 Sportback, period, even though Audi calls it A5 sedan. Sorry, Audi, about it. Yeah, and this one will also be offered on the Northern American market. The Avant not. The Estate then will be more important for the German market. And I would like to know from you, what do you think about this whole renaming thing, merging 2 segments? Mercedes did that with the Mercedes CLE, merging the coupe segments of E and C class. Here now they did this with the whole midsize segment, claim to be upper midsize segment now, to be like a segment higher above. And partly I think it also works. I think it looks stunning. The exterior design Audi I think works very, very well. The others have received a lot of criticism. I think this one will be received way better, both as a Sportback and also as the Estate. So share your opinion please in the comments, and also tune into the competitors. We also had some cool comparison episodes.